Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make Sailor Piece, I believe it's called. This is how to make Sailor Piece, part one for the series and stuff like that. If you're new to my channel, pretty much the way things go, as long as you show, as long as you continue showing the series, the videos, love and support and everything, I will continue making more and more videos. So as long as part one does well, there will be a part two, and part two does well, part three, and then etc. etc. So on and so forth. So yeah, show the series love and support, and I will keep it going. So part one, I wanted to cover just like setting up like the stats and well, some of the stats, more like the leader stats, and then like setting up the basic like quest system and whatnot and stuff, right? So yeah, I see Sailor Priest is very popular, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. I'm gonna go ahead and give you all a disclaimer. If you look in the bottom right, you will see it is currently 4:30 in the morning for me right now. I should probably be asleep to be honest, so I'm pretty tired. So I'm probably gonna make a little mistake or something. So please bear with me and stuff. I'm gonna try my best. But anyway. Okay, so for the first things first, right? Let's make our enemy NPC, right? We're gonna have a group of them, but it's gonna be the same type. Now, I do want to clarify this is part one. Things will be added on and changed and stuff like that. This is just a baseline, okay? I don't want to do 3 to 4 hours worth of work for a video that doesn't do too well, right? But let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, so first things first, you need these three windows open: Explorers, Properties, Output. If you don't have them open, just click Window and then just find them. You have Properties and Explorer, you have Properties and Explorer, and then Output, right? Output, this is where we use to debug coding issues. Workspace, and then, sorry, Explorer is where you can see all of our we'll call them containers, I guess. That's what we call them. And we have properties of said containers or objects. So yeah, but anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So let's go ahead and make our enemy NPC. So I'm gonna just get one from the toolbox. I'm gonna follow the same thing as from the game itself where there's monkeys. So I'm going to click toolbox. What I'm going to do is I am going to switch to I guess characters. Yeah, okay. I guess we'll just do characters. So then I'm just gonna type monkey, right? Now you guys don't have to use the same model. You can use whatever model you want. You can use a regular, just the default Roblox avatar. Like it really doesn't matter. This is what I'm doing. So, right, I now have my enemy NPC model, right? So there are two things that it's gonna need. It's gonna need a hitbox as well as a whatchamacallit, as well as a quest ID. But we're gonna get to the hitbox later and stuff. There's a simple way that we can just copy and paste it into, so we'll get to that later. For now, we're going to insert a quest ID. So you're gonna click the plus icon, you're gonna do number value, boom, insert a number value, right? We need this number value to be quest ID. So this is going to be the specific ID that is tied to the quest. You're going to see in a little bit that instead of server storage, we're going to create a folder, which is going to keep all of the information about the quest, right? Essentially, the rewards for the quest, right, as well as the quest ID. Now, it is very important that you make this quest ID unique. Each quest needs to be different. So for the NPCs, this is how we're going to keep track of whether or not, like, you essentially, like, oh, you just killed this NPC if it has something to do with you completing a quest, right? We're going to check the quest ID. We're going to be like, okay, is the player's current quest ID equal to the NPC's quest ID? If so, then it means, okay, they just killed um one of the NPC, one of the enemy NPCs that they need to get closer to reaching their goal to be able to complete the quest. So since this is the first quest, we'll just set the quest ID to 1. In my opinion, I think the best way to do it is just increment. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep going up like that. So yeah. So we have monkey, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a folder into workspace. We can properly store things. So folder, you can go ahead and rename this to be enemy NPCs. You go ahead and drag the monkey to be inside of the folder. We will create other NPCs after I've added the hitbox and stuff later. So just wait on that. Now for the next thing is quest givers, right? So pretty similar process. I'm gonna click avatar, I'm gonna click character, then I'm just gonna drop in an avatar, right? Boom. So this will be our quest giver, right? So I will go ahead and call this quest giver NPC, and we're gonna do the same thing with the quest ID. So number value, quest ID. Obviously, you want to make sure that the quest IDs match. right? So this, let's say this quest giver gives out, quest number one. We're gonna put one, and then this enemy NPC is associated with it since they both have the same quest ID, right? One other thing is we need a proximity prompt, so I'm gonna put that inside of the human root part. So I'm going to, or actually, oh no, actually we don't need to actually. Let's do this. We're gonna insert the proximity prompt. You can really just rename it to be quest prompt. You can set a hold duration to whatever amount of time you want. This is how long you have to hold down the key, usually E, by default E, for the pop-up or the prompt is triggered, I should say. Then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna create a folder, so workspace folder, and then you can call this quest givers, right? Then we're gonna drag this. If you want, you can also give the NPCs descriptive names. That way, it's like you know which NPC is which. Like I don't know, you call this like monkey quest giver NPC or something. It's really up to you. But yeah. Okay, so we are done with stuff in workspace for now. We are then going to move on to server storage. Now we're going to get into the quest info stuff, right? So insert a folder. You can go ahead and name this folder quest info. Quest info. Then we're going to insert a folder into this folder, right? Now this is going to be the specific quest stuff. So we obviously have quest number one, right? So we need to have a few things. First, let's insert a number value. This is going to be our coin reward, right? So the currency in the game is, I believe, coins, or at least I'm going to call it coins. You can call it money, cash, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to call it coins. So pretty much what this is, you're going to set this value to be whatever you want the coin reward amount for completing quest one. When the player completes quest one, this is how much money they're going to get for it. So I'm going to set mine to be 1200. Right? Moving on, we then have the XP reward. We can just go ahead and right click duplicate. Then you can just change this to be XP reward. So I'm assuming you guys know what XP obviously is. That's what you need to level up. So this is how much XP the player is going to get upon completing the quest. Let's say 500, right? Then from here, we will duplicate it. Let's duplicate it one more time. And then, as you guys probably guessed, quest ID. Very important, very important. Make sure the quest ID, again, they all need to match. So we're gonna set this to 1. They all need to match. The quest ID inside of the enemy NPC, the quest giver NPC inside of the folder, they all need to match. That way it's like when you're coding and stuff like that, it knows like, okay, this is connected. This is how we know that everything is connected. That's how we know this folder is connected with this NPC, this enemy NPC, and which is also connected with this quest giver NPC. They're all 3 different things, but they're connected, and that's how we know. Okay, so then we're gonna need a string value, right? Then you can go ahead and just name this quest description. So this is the description for the quest. You can write whatever you want. I'm just gonna say defeat the nearby monkeys, right? You can put whatever you want. Then we will duplicate this. This will be our last value for quest one. Then you can call this quest name. Then this is obviously the name of the quest. And we can simply just call this, we set its value to be monkey hunter, right? Again, it's up to you guys. You guys don't have to have the same thing as me. Obviously, for quest ID, it should probably be the same, but everything else is really up to you guys. So then boom, we're done with the info. We know how much money the player is getting paid for completing the mission, how much XP they're getting, the name of the quest, the description for the quest, and then its ID. So yeah. So when you want to add another quest, you could just duplicate this, change this to the quest number 2. Obviously make sure to update the quest ID and then just adjust the rewards and everything in description and name as needed, right? That simple. So yeah, okay, now let's move on to the UI, which this will display the quest information. So starter GUI, insert a screen GUI, right? Disable reset on spawn. We can go ahead and rename this to be core GUI. Then let's go ahead and insert a frame. I'm gonna drag this like over here. Then I think I'm gonna do like 300 by 100. You guys can go ahead and rename this to be quest frame, right? I'm going to make the background a nice dark, kind of darkish gray. Then I'm also give it a border. Boom. So something like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a frame. This is going to be a divider. I'm just going to act as a divider. So divider. Let's go ahead and let's set this like 50. or no, it's like 20. And then we'll just put it in the middle. Okay, boom, perfect. And then I will extend this out 300. Okay, perfect. And then we'll just make this like black, and then that's maybe set this to like 10. Yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. So first things first, I guess let's make a close button. So text button, this will be the button you use to close the quest stuff, which essentially is another way to cancel the quest. If you close it, then it'll cancel the quest for you, right? So call this close text button. Very simple stuff. Set the size to be like no, let's do, oh, did not mean to do that. Let's do 40 by 40, right? Go down, bold text, rich text, scale the text, set the text to a nice red X, or sorry, a nice big X, I meant. Text color will be white, text stroke color should be black, text stroke transparency should be set to 0. Then we will go ahead and just make the background nice and red, nice little burgundy. Okay, wonderful, and cool. We will put this on the corner right there. Um, so here's a line up. Okay, perfect. So then from there, we will then go ahead and insert a text label into the quest frame. This will be our this will be our quest name text label. So quest name text label, right? Drag this up here. Need to make this a little bit smaller, so like maybe 200 by 30. Okay, perfect. And like right there. Okay. We can go ahead and set the background transparent. Or actually, wait. Let me wait. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to do this actually real quick. I'm going to scale the text, rich text, bold text, and then we could just say placeholder text. We could just put quest name. You know, the quest name goes here. I'm gonna do some white text. Texture color will be black. Texture transparency set to 0. Very simple, right? And then we can just go on ahead and duplicate this. Okay, cool. We will duplicate this. We will drop this down here, right? And then we can rename this to be quest description text label, right? And then we will drop the size down a little bit. Okay, maybe let's do like 45. Yeah, so something like that. And then we can just extend this out. Boom. Okay, cool. And then the quest description will go here. So then we can have quest description. All right, now we can make their background transparencies. We can set it to 1. So boom, boom, or you could select them. You could select them both at the same time by holding the CTRL, also known as the Control keybind on your keyboard, and then just selecting both at the same time. But yep, okay. All right, next two text tables we have are the rewards. Okay, so we'll insert another text table, right? And what I'll do is I will make this, is that like 50? No, like 100. Let's do this like yeah, okay, so like 150 and like about 150 by 30, possibly. Okay, so this is going to be the coin reward text table, pretty much going to display how much money is being offered to complete the quest. So coin reward, bold text, rich text, scale text, we'll just put coin reward, and then same thing, white text, black textural color, and then textural transparency set to 0. Then I will make the background nice and yellow. So a nice little bright yellow. Give it a nice border. And then make the border like maybe like a darker, yeah, like kind of like a darker yellow. Then we will put that right here. Okay, cool. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and right click, duplicate this, drag this over here. And then what we can do is we can change this to be orange for our XP. So do that, and boom, okay. And then this is just going to change to XP reward text label. Then you can just have XP reward. Okay, boom. And just like that, guys, we are done with the UI. I'm not a UI designer. Again, if you're new, I'm not a UI designer, just a programmer. So, yeah, yeah, God bless. That's all I can say with making the UI. But anyway, so by default, this frame should not be visible. We're only going to make this visible while the player is on a, I'm about to say on a quiz, on a quest, right? So then I also we're gonna have to make a very, very, very basic combat system, which will be improved on later as long as the series continues going. I just didn't want to spend like 20, 30 minutes just on like on a combat system alone when it's like the main focus is to just get the quest system going. So we're gonna need an M1 sound effect. So again, you guys can really just go to the toolbox for this stuff. That's where I got mine from. Just go to the toolbox, drop down, audio, and then just just search up like punch. Yeah, like something like that works. Boom. So you have punch, and then I'm just gonna rename it to be M1. Then once you got your audio, just drag it down to the sound service. Very simple, right? Then we need the combat tool. As you guys know, there's the basic combat tool which allows you to do M1s and stuff in the game. So we're gonna head on over to Stutter Pack, plus icon. Then we have the tool, right? Then let me just double check to make sure we're good. Okay, we are good. Okay, and right, we have our tool. So then you're gonna put combat. You're gonna name it to be combat. Make sure you disable can't be dropped and requires handle. Make sure both of those are disabled. Then we're gonna need one value and then a whole bunch of animations. So first, we're going to insert a number value. This is going to be our M1 tracker. Now you guys know how when you're doing M1s, it's usually like left, right, and like a down slam or like a kick or something, right? So we need to keep track of that. So it'll go like 1, 2, 3. So by default, set its value to 1, and then it will just increment it. If you throw a left punch, it'll go to 2. If you throw a right punch, it'll go to 3, and then just keep looping. Then we need our animations, right? So I have an idle animation as well as 3 M1 animations. So this is my idle animation, then these 3 M1 animations. I get all of my animations from the toolbox. The same way I got the sound, that is the same way you can get your animations. I do not make any animations, and you guys cannot use my animation IDs. Like, if you try it, it's not going to work because everyone's animation IDs unique to them, and only the owner can use those. So I recommend getting your own animations if you don't make them and stuff like that. So, yeah. So anyway, we're going to have our animations here. So we're gonna have our idle animation. I'm just gonna go through here and I'm just going to copy and paste. Boom. Then for the next one, or let's do this actually. I'm just duplicating them. So you can just right click and duplicate them or control plus D. Anyway, so then M1, this is a left punch. This is right punch. And then this is like a down slam or like like a heavy, I guess. M1, 3. Okay. And then now I will update the animation IDs. Boom. Wait, this is okay. Just to make sure that's the second one. Cool. And then we will go right here. Okay, cool. Boom. And then just like that, we are done with the combat tool, right? Perfect. Now we can finally move on to actual coding. Wonderful. Okay, open up Stutter Player scripts plus icon, insert a local script. Rename the script to be core script in parentheses, put local. Boom. We are going to delete print hello world. We're going to create 3 variables. First, a variable for our remote event, which I neglected to make. So replicated storage, hit the plus icon. You're going to insert a remote event. We need this event to communicate between the client and the server. So just rename it to be core event. So let's make a variable for it. So first things first, we have core event is equal to game.replicated storage wait for child core event. Then let's create a variable for our player. So it's equal to game.players.localPlayer. Then let's create a variable for our core GUI. It's equal to player.player GUI wait for child core GUI. Right now, let's set up some functions. So we'll say core event on client event connect function in parentheses put event type is just the name of the event, comma arg1, which is short for argument number 1, which is just a piece of information that was sent over. So for our first event, if event type is equal to quest, so this means the player is starting a quest, we want to update all the information. So let's get all that first. So let's create a variable for our info table, which was sent over. So it's equal to arg1, right? Then let's get the name of the quest. So quest name is equal to quest info table, right? Regular bracket, quotation mark, quest name, right? Very simple. Then we will get the quest description. Same thing. Oh my bad. Boom, boom. Quest description, right? Then we need the coin reward and XP reward. So coin reward is equal to quest info, coin reward, and then lastly we have the XP reward. Boom. And okay. Just like that we are done. Now we are going to update all the UI elements. So we will say core GUI dot quest frame dot quest name text label dot text is equal to quest name. Then we'll say core GUI dot quest frame dot quest description text label dot text is equal to quest description. And then core GUI dot quest frame dot coin reward text label dot text is equal to coin reward. And then core GUI dot quest frame dot exp reward text label dot text is equal to exp reward, right? Very simple. And then lastly, we are going to make the UI visible. So core GUI dot quest frame dot visible is set to true. Then after that, we can throw in an else if. So else if event type is equal to end quest. So if the quest is ended, which usually is just that means they completed the quest. Then we would disable the UI core GUI dot quest frame dot visible is equal to false, right? Then we're done with that main function, onto some other ones. So now onto the tool stuff. So let's say that, or sorry, actually, no, I actually forgot one thing before we get to the tool stuff. So let's say you click the red X that's over here, right, to end obviously, I keep saying quiz, to end the quest, right? We need to set that up. So let's do, core GUI dot quest frame dot close text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter core GUI dot quest or that wrong thing core GUI dot quest frame dot visible is equal to false, then fire their mode event. I just keep typing the wrong thing or selecting the wrong thing, I should say. Core event fire server in quotation mark. We are then going to put cancel quest, right? Then from there we are then going to set up the combat tool stuff. So let's create a variable for it. Combat tool, this is for our M1s. Combat tool is equal to player.backpack wait for child. Combat, right? Then let's create a variable for our idle animation track. So this is just simply for the idle animation and stuff. While you have it equipped, you do not have to have this. So I'm just gonna set that to no by default, and we'll reassign its value. So we'll say combat tool dot equipped. So when a player equips the combat tool, connect function close parentheses. Once they equip it, we will then start playing the idle animation track. So it's equal to player dot character dot humanoid dot animator load animation, right? And then you will say combat tool dot idle animation, and then you will play the idle animation track. Boom, right? And then to do the opposite, we will say combat tool dot unequipped connect function close parentheses press enter. You will simply say idle idle at and then stop, right? So boom, we are done with that. And then now onto the last thing. Okay, so whenever a player tries to actually throw a punch, combat tool that activated connect function close parentheses press enter. You say core event fire server in quotation marks combat. So the event type and then the specific combat event type, which is M1. So boom, right? And just like that, we are done. Let's go ahead and move on to the server side, and then we'll be done. So server script service plus icon, insert a server script. You can rename this to be core script in parentheses put server. Then we can delete print hello world. We're going to create a couple of variables first for the sound service for our sound effects. So ss is equal to game get service sound service. Then let's create a variable for our quest givers that would be here in workspace. So we will say quest givers is equal to workspace wait for child quest givers. Then create a variable for our quest info, which is inside of server storage. So our quest info. which is inside of server storage, game server storage, wait for child, quest info. Then we have our core event, which is equal to game the replicated storage, wait for child, core event, right? Lastly, we have our module script, which we're going to go ahead and create that now. So what we can go ahead and do is hit the plus icon here, module script. For now, you just want to name this quest module, copy and paste this, Control C, Control V, Control V, and then we can move back onto the server script. Then we will create a variable for our quest module. So quest module is equal to require script.quest module, right? Oh, my bad. Now from here, let's get started with the function. So we'll say game.players player added connect function in parentheses, put PLR, which is for the player who joined the game, press enter. Now to start setting up all their values. So first, we have the player quest info. So player quest info, this is going to be a folder which is going to keep track of a couple of things like the amount of kills the player currently has towards the NPCs they need to kill, as well as how many, like the maximum they need, as well as the quest ID. So we'll do this player quest info. That name is equal to player quest info. Then we will parent this to the player. Then we will create the current quest ID value. So this should of course be a number value. And then we will name it the same thing. And then we will update it. So by default, its value should be at a 0. If it's at 0, that means the player is not currently in any quest. So by default, it should be set to 0. Current quest ID.parent is equal to player quest info. Right? Then let's create a folder for our leader stats. So leader stats is equal to instance.new folder. Then we'll say leader stats.name is equal to leader stats. Leader stats.parent is equal to player. Now to create the two leader stats, so coins and current XP. So we'll say coins instance.new number value, of course, and then same thing. Coins.name is equal to coins, right? Then coins. If you want players to have a default amount of money when they start the game off, you can of course do that. I'm just gonna set mine to 0 just cause, but you can definitely do that. Then parent is equal coins. The parent is equal to leader stats. Then lastly, let's do the same thing with current XP. So we will say current. We will say current XP is equal to instance.new number value current XP dot name is equal to current XP. Then current XP dot value by default should be set to 0. Current XP dot parent is equal to leader stats, right? Okay, boom. So just like that, we have our leader stats. Now we need to go up. We need to go through with setting up the hitbox and stuff, right? Once we set this up, I can go ahead and press play and then add the hitbox to the NPC, and then we can continue on with the scripting stuff, right? Because that was the last part we were missing. So let's go ahead and create the hitbox. So let's say player dot character added connect function in parentheses put character enter, right? Then we will create a variable for set hitbox. So instance.new, then it's a part. We'll say hitbox dot name equal to hitbox. Then you will say hitbox dot anchored is equal to false. Hitbox dot massless is equal to true. Hitbox that can collide is equal to false. And then hitbox dot can touch is also equal to false, right? Then we will set the transparency to be 1. So transparency we set to 1. Hitbox dot size is equal to vector3 dot new 5, 6, 12. Then hitbox dot color is equal to color3 dot new. Red simply for testing, so 1, 0, 0, right? And then from there we will pivot. So, or sorry, actually, I forgot one thing. Or wait, we did size, we did size and color. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so we will say hitbox pivot to character dot humanoid root part dot C frame, right? And then now to weld it to the player's human root part. So let's say wells constraint is equal to instance.new wells constraint dot part 0 is equal to the hitbox wells constraint dot part 1 is equal to the character's humanoid root part, right? And then lastly, all we gotta do now is just parent everything. So hitbox.parent is equal to character.humanoid root part. And then wells constraint.parent is equal to hitbox. Okay, and we are done with that first major function. Now we're gonna move on to a for loop, right? So for this for loop, what this simply does is this is essentially enabling all of the quest givers so that it's like, okay, if a player triggers it, we're gonna load all of the quest data if we can find the quest, and then we are going to go ahead and send that so that the player can see like everything they need to do to complete the quest. So we'll say for I, v in I pairs quest givers get children. We're gonna get all of the children of quest givers, enter. Then we will create a variable. So quest NPC is equal to v, right? Then we will say quest npc dot quest prompt dot triggered connect function close parentheses, or sorry, in parentheses plr enter, which that's short for the player who triggered the prompt. And then first, let's run a check real quick. Let's make sure that the player doesn't currently have any quizzes, or sorry, I keep saying quizzes, doesn't have any quest. If they don't have any quest, then that means okay, they can take on a new quest. If they do, then we're gonna just deny that. So we're gonna say if player dot um player quest info dot current quest ID dot value, as long as it's not equal to 0, because 0 means player has no quest right now. Enter, then return. If not, then we will continue on with the second loop. So for j comma f and I pairs quest info get children, enter, right? Then we have our quest info folder, which is equal to f, right? Then we will load, or we'll check things first. So we will say if quest npc the quest id dot value is equal to quest, that's how you spell value, is equal to quest info folder quest id dot value. Pretty much just checking to make sure that like the quest IDs match, and that means okay, there is a real quiz associated between these two things, right? Then let's create a table. Quest info table, which is equal to special brackets. We'll store information here. We will say table dot insert quest info table, or that's the wrong thing, quest info table, right? Comma special bracket enter. Then regular bracket quotation marks, and then you will have quest name, very important. Everything is case sensitive, so make sure you do things exactly as I'm doing it. Then we have quests. Oh right, info folder. Info folder, quotation marks, quest name dot value, comma. Then I'm just gonna copy and paste. So Control C, right? Control V, Control V, um, Control V. So I believe, yep, should be pretty simple from here. This just changes to quest description, and then copy paste, right? And then I am trying to think. All right, then coin reward, copy paste, and then lastly we have exp reward, right? Boom. Control C, Control V, and then boom. Wonderful. We're almost done. So we'll go past this part. Fire the remote event, core event, fire client singular, player, comma, quest. This ain't another starting the quest. And then set over all of the necessary information. Right? Regular bracket. Oh, by the way, make sure you put regular bracket 1. For some reason, I don't know why. It's like a 2D array. So by default. So just make sure you remember to put that 1. Right? Then we're going to say player dot player quest info. We're going to update the current quest ID value accordingly. So dot value equal to quest NPC dot quest ID dot value, right? Then we will say quest, we say quest module, regular bracket quotation marks, quest. We're going to create these functions soon. Quest dot 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 quest NPC dot quest ID dot value. Then go on the outside, player. Oh my bad, I'm reading the wrong thing. Player quest info folder. So boom. So pretty much what we're doing is, right, we're gonna create a function on this script, right? That's quest 1, quest 2, quest 3, quest 4, right? So you're essentially just saying quest, whatever the current quest ID value is, so it'll be a number, and then these are your parameters. This is what you're sending over and stuff, right? So we're sending over the player as well as their the specific info tied to the quest. So then we could just skip all of the ends onto the next function. Now we're gonna wrap things up with the combat, right? Again, very basic combat, right? Core event on server event connect function in parentheses, put PLR short, which is short for player, comma event type, comma arg1, enter. Then we'll create a variable for the player's character. Boom. Now we'll set up the if statements. So if event type is equal to combat, then we will say we will create a variable for the combat type actually. Combat type is equal to arg1 if combat type is equal to M1. Here's our code for it. Enter. Then we will set up the animation track. So look up AT is equal to character dot humanoid or humanoid dot animator load animation. Then we'll say script dot or sorry, not script. I meant what's it called? Oh right, I remember. Character dot combat dot tool regular bracket quotation marks M1 dot 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 character dot combat dot did I do that? M1 tracker dot value dot 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 quotation marks and do with the parenthesis. Very nice. Then we will play the animation track. Then we also play the sound effect. So M1 play, right? Then we are going to go ahead and increment it. So character dot combat dot M1 tracker dot value is greater than or equal to 1. So increment it, and then we will also check to make sure that the M1 tracker has not exceeded 3. So if M1 or wait, if oh my bad, if character.combat, I'm not gonna let the sleepiness is catching up to me. This hard to interrupt, so I'm getting tired. If character.combat dot M1 tracker dot value is greater than or equal to 3, enter, then we'll just reset it. So you can just copy and paste this, Control C, Control V, and then just simply move the plus sign. That way you're just seeing is back to 1. Now for all of the beautiful raycasting. So let's get the start position. Start position is equal to character dot humanoid parts dot hitbox dot position. Then let's go ahead and get the direction, which is equal to character dot humanoid part dot hitbox, which we have hitbox dot cframe dot look vector. Enter. Now for the raycast parameters. Raycast params equal to raycast params dot new close parentheses enter. Raycast params dot filter type is equal to enum dot filter type dot exclude. The raycast params dot filter descendants instances is equal to, we are going to special brackets character get descendants, right? Boom. Then we're going to go ahead and cast our array. Array is equal to workspace array cast. And then from here, we're going to put the start position, comma, direction, very important. You need to have a multiplier, so you need to multiply this by something. The bigger the number, the further the range and stuff like that, right? So I'm just gonna go with 5, but it's for you guys for whatever you want to put here, right? I will put 5, leave it at that, and then we have our raycast parameters. Okay, But so let's say the ray comes into contact, then we can say if ray and ray.instance and ray.instance.name is equal to hitbox. Enter. Right? Very simple. Then we'll create a variable for the enemy character. I guess the enemy NPC in this case. And apparently I can't spell. Character is equal to ray.instance.parent. And then we will say enemy character dot humanoid. So here's the testing comes into play, right? Humanoid dot health less than or equal to. So this we're gonna decrement the health. Now here's the thing. Obviously, realistically, you'd want it to be like 5 or 10. I'm gonna set this to 100 because I don't feel like sitting here waiting all day. Like when I test at the end of the video, I want to make sure everything works, and I'm not gonna sit here and hit the NPC 100 times. So we're just gonna set this to 100, but obviously set this to a reasonable number, unless of course you're testing. Then after this stuff, we're going to set up an if statement. We're going to say if enemy character that humanoid that health is less than or equal to 0. So pretty much if they died, and player dot player quest info dot current quest ID dot value is equal to enemy character. This is the importance of quest IDs. Quest ID dot value. This is how we know that things that are different are connected. Enter. Right? So then we will create a variable for the specific NPC folder, right? Or sorry, specific quest folder, because that's not here. Yeah. The specific quest folder, we will say quest info, find first child, quest, player, dot, player, quest info, dot, current, quest ID, dot, value, right? Now, pretty much what this means is that the player is currently on the player is currently on a quest, right? So that's great and everything. Um, wait, I just realized I think I did something wrong. If enemy character, wait. Oh, my bad. We do need this, but not yet. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut this. So I'm gonna select this, and then you can right click and then just cut or control plus X. So we do need this just not right now. Sorry, what's supposed to go here is player quest info.current kills.value plus equal 1, right? Because you got another one. Then what we need to do is we need to make sure that this matches that because what that checks is to ensure that when the player is on a quest as well as this specific quest. Now we need to check to see if the player has completed the quest or if they've just made some progress towards completing the quest. So we will say if player dot player quest info dot player quest info dot current kills dot value is equal to player dot player quest info dot kills needed dot value. Enter. Now you can go ahead and paste it. Control plus V. Boom. Specific quest folder, right? Then we can go ahead and start handing out rewards. So player dot leader stats dot coins dot value plus equal to the specific quest folder dot coin reward dot value player dot leader stats dot current XP dot value plus equal specific quest folder dot XP reward dot value, right? Very nice. Huh? Specific. I'm so confused. Am I missing something? Specific. What? I'm confused. Variable defined is never initialized or assigned with nil to silence. What are you at line? Oh, my bad. That's really specific. Oh, I never put an equal sign. My bad, guys. Make sure you have an equal sign. I was so confused. I was like, what? Okay, perfect. So then from there, you'll do that. Then for the next thing, you'll reset the quest ID. So player quest info current quest ID. That value is equal to 0. This reset. This means the player is no longer on a quest. Then we will fire the remote event, core event, fire client. In quotation marks, we put end quest, right? Then from here, we will use a for loop to essentially go through and delete all of the values. Like there's going to be just two values. One that keeps track of your kills needed, how many kills you need to get to complete the quest, and what do I call it? And how many kills you currently have, like towards that goal. But obviously there may be other values for other kind of missions. Those two values only really apply for like missions where you have to kill enemies. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure that's most things in the game. But there could be other stuff where it's like, oh, keeping track of whether or not you retrieved a lost item or something. So we could say for I, comma v in I pairs, we will say player quest info get children, close parentheses, press enter. Then we will say if v.name is not equal to current quest ID. We obviously do not want to delete the current quest ID. Then we will destroy it. Anything else is not needed. But we will put an else. If it is the current quest ID, then we want to reset its value to. Oh wait, I just realized how stupid I am. What is the point in doing that if I already do that here? I just realized that this line is actually pointless. I just realized that. Okay, well, never mind. Okay, wonderful. We are going to skip a lot of ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 1, 2. You know what? Actually, let's make things easier now that I think about it. We're gonna go all the way up here to line 84, or just whatever this is for you. Click the little arrow right there. Click right here for the second to last end. Press enter. Go up. Else if event type is equal to in quotation marks cancel quest. This is if the player wants to cancel the quest by hitting the close button on the UI. Enter. And then literally you're going to do the same thing. So you can just copy and paste this. Control C, Control V, right click, copy and paste. Now here we are going to need to do it like this. Else b dot value is equal to 0 because we don't have this part here. So yeah, that way it just destroys anything extra and resets the quest value. Now onto the module script. Let's go ahead and test this out real quick. All right, let's go ahead and create our function. So be real quick. Here's how you're going to create your quest stuff. So function quest module dot quest one, very important. Follow this format: quest 1, quest 2, quest 3, quest 4, etc. So remember, we sent over the player as well as the quest info folder. Enter. So we need our current kills and kills needed values. So current kills, right? Of course, this is going to be a number value. So we have current kills. That name is equal to current kills. Current kills dot value is equal to 0 by default. Current kills dot parent. You should parent this to the player's quest info folder, and then you can go on ahead and copy this. Control C, Control V, copy and paste. Then you need kills needed. This is kills needed to complete the quest. So then we can just copy and paste. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and Control V. Right? And then obviously this you set this to whatever it needs to be. I'm gonna say it needs to be 5. You have to kill 5 of them, right? So then boom. And then when you're ready to create quest number 2, just copy this, change the 1 to 2, and then just put whatever you want. Let's go ahead and test to make sure everything works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, this includes this or any of my other scripts or models, just simply read the description. Look in the description to find out how to get access to that. Okay, so 2 things. First, I spelled coins with an extra S, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Make sure you guys didn't make that same mistake. Remember, guys, I need to also add the hitbox to the NPC. So if we go here to my character, you'll notice I have a hitbox in my human. So find your player in workspace, open up human root part, find your hitbox. As you can see, I have my hitbox right here. Now I'm noticing a minor issue. Okay, I may have done something wrong. Okay, let's hit stop because that's the wrong size for the hitbox. So first things first, we're gonna scroll all the way to the top, find coins, fix that. Make sure it only has one S. Now for this, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's kind of the problem right there. My bad, guys. Not 5, 6, and so it's supposed to be last thing's supposed to be 2.5. For the size of the hitbox and stuff, that last value is supposed to be 2.5. Okay. Now if I hit play, this is why it's important to test and make sure everything looks good. Okay. Now if I go here and then I find my hitbox, transparency, boom, there we go. Now it's proper. We can go ahead and right click, copy, boom, perfect, right? Now, where are we? Okay, I was like, where are we? Okay, boom. So let's open up our monkey, our NPC, find its human root part, right click, paste into. Make sure you set the wealth constraints at part 1 to the NPC's human root part, and then make sure the hitbox is actually like where it needs to be on the NPC. You're gonna have to drag it manually, so boom, make sure it's where it needs to be. Oh, my bad. Make sure it's where it needs to be. So down and okay, up a little bit or forward a little bit. Okay, boom, there we go. We should be good. Okay, now to make it fully transparent, and then we are done. Okay, perfect. Then I'm just gonna duplicate this. Control plus D, Control plus D, Control plus D, Control plus D. Okay. Then I'm just going to drag them out a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and get to testing. Okay, bet. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so like I said, check the description to find how you get access to any one of my scripts or models. Okay, so if I hit combat, the reason why you're not seeing the idle animation play right now is because I'm using I think I'm using R16 R50. What is this? It's my art type. That's the problem. So I'm using R6. The punching animation will work with R6, but the idle animation is R15. So that's why you guys don't see the idle animation. But if your animations are good, you should be seeing it. But anyway, so notice this, right? Um, oh, wrong thing. My bad. Players. Notice this. Current quest city is set to 0, right? If I go to the quest giver, if I interact, boom, monkey hunter, defeat the nearby monkeys, right? We have our rewards, how much money is being offered, as well as the XP. I recommend having images, obviously, to clarify, because it looks kind of bland right now, probably like a money symbol and stuff like that, but you guys get the point. So we have our current quest. So this is current kills needed. Now watch this. If I go up, and there we go. We have ourselves our first mistake. Okay, first things first. This is supposed to be. Wait, what? M is not available. I'm so confused. 88. Oh, my bad, guys. This is supposed to be. Um, oh, my bad. Right here. It's supposed to be a left parenthesis right here. Yeah, left parenthesis right there. M1. Because then it would be. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, let's try it again. Accept the quest. Invalid type for what? Oh, my bad, guys. My bad. Wrong thing, wrong thing. Like I said, guys, it's 5 o'clock. Please bear with me. Sorry, it's supposed to be raycast filter type. Sorry, not not just filter type. It's supposed to be raycast filter type. Raycast. Change that. It's on the server script. This function. So it's in the middle, right? The second function with the core event and everything. This is for the M1 code. Change that, right? Raycast filter type. Okay. Again, this is why we test. Okay. Accept the quest. There we go. Okay. So one tapped, light work. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Boom. Just like that. I got my rewards and everything like that. The only thing that didn't happen is that the UI did not close, and there's a reason for that. Fire client. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Again, sorry. Hopefully this is the last time. Right here. Got it with the player first. So this should be PLR. Something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it should be PLR then the name of the event, because we have to send it. We have to put the specific client we're sending the event to. So PLR then that. So okay, we'll test that real quick. We know the rewards and everything works, so that's good. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, there we go. I got my rewards, and as you can see, everything went away. Obviously, we can spam it now and everything. Like I said, I will implement a much better combat system. Just wanted to show off the basics and stuff like that. So yeah, this is part 1 of how to make Sailor Piece and stuff like that. Very similar game to Blocks Fruits. It looked to me. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like and subscribe. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you did, definitely leave a like, subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. Show love and support, and I got you. Let me know what videos you guys want to see. Thank you so much for watching and for bearing with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.